So what would you consider, let's just talk quickly here about some alternatives to drinking alcohol at night to wind down. I mean, I know that's essentially what we've been doing this whole time, but do any come to mind off the top of your head?
Yeah, absolutely. Something like chamomile tea.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a routine that has a warm, relaxing drink to it that's like a chamomile tea, or there are tons of sort of sleep teas or bedtime teas that have valerian or different kinds of relaxing herbs in them. You want to make sure they're not going to interfere with your medication. I have another patient who's gotten in the habit now of having a warm hot chocolate. And, she says that really helps her sleep. Of course, there's tryptophan in milk. That doesn't agree with everybody. But, again, that kind of thing is great. So off the top of my head, I would say something like that, taking a bath, doing things that, warming up your bed, doing things that make your body feel calm and relaxed.
Great. Just a couple more here. And for the questions we don't get to tonight, we're going to post some follow-up question and answers here on the website on creakyjoints.org, along with all of tonight's conversation and webinar and slides, so that you can access it, send it to a friend, or pull it up in the middle of the night when you can't sleep. Just listen to my voice. But here's Vania asks, my RA medicine injection sites can be painful when I try to sleep and roll onto them. Is there a way to change my bed or my injections to avoid this? Great question.
That is a great question. Do you have any responses to that, Seth? Right?
Do I? Well, I mean, I know that, over the years I've had my share of little tinkerings and surgeries and this and that, which have made me have to sleep in one position for, weeks on end. And as someone that does toss and turn infinitely in the middle of the night, I always found that difficult until, I think, getting back to our talk a little earlier about pillows, I built myself a little supportive fort that wouldn't really allow me to move, and at the same time was quite comfortable and allowed me to acclimate to it. I wouldn't recommend changing the injection site because it hurts when you sleep. That gets into a whole different ball of wax that you might want to talk to your doctor about, because there probably are other places to inject yourself, but at the same time, you just want to make that decision with an expert in the room and not on your own.
And sometimes, I've been talking about, being warm, but sometimes putting a cold compress on the injection site can help, just briefly before you sleep with the bruising and the hurting from that. But I think the idea of the pillows, have you ever tried those mattress toppers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So again, changing your bed that way so it's a more comfy, and maybe even getting more comfortable sheets.
Yeah. And Tessa, the queen of our message boards, also reminds us that there is a long conversation. She's right on the Creaky board, all about injection sites. So
and I found that one of the most interesting. Yeah,
I refer to that too, which is interesting. Another Jack out in Southern California, where I wish I were right now, writes, my partner always falls asleep quickly, and in the morning finds himself feeling guilty that I could not sleep as much as he did. Is there something that I can do, or something rather that he can do, I misread that, to help me?
Well, I would ask the question, do you feel, does the person writing in feel badly that their partner's asleep? I mean, do they want them to be awake with them, or is it okay? There can be that kind of resentment or annoyance that it's so easy for them to sleep, but really what would be gained by them being awake too? So that feels like the place for a conversation. What do you need, and is it okay with you that he's asleep, and, what's going on between the two of you?
True. Okay. Let's see, we got time here for one more, and then we do want to be aware, especially of our friends in Europe, and I'm surprised at how many there are, considering that it is the middle of the night, although I'm not surprised considering the topic that we're talking about.
But that's a little worrisome, isn't it?
I know. It's
those
ironic
of us
and cool at the same time. But here, Mike in Minnesota writes, I live in downtown Minneapolis, and there's noise outside outside my window at night and I have a hard time sleeping. What can I do?
Hey,
Mike, why don't you come to New York?
Yeah,
It'll make
really.
Minneapolis a lot quieter.
Well, I think that's the kind of thing where you want to get the drapes, if you can. I have a little noise machine which makes that kind of whooshing sound like air going, and it can really help. Or play music that, again, of natural sounds, waterfalls, ocean, rain, anything like that kind of masks or helps you mask the sound would be useful. And sometimes people use earplugs. I don't particularly like them, but I know I do have clients who use them and find them very helpful. So whatever you need to do that calms you down.
Yeah, I hear you. Or even those face masks, which look terribly ugly, but a lot of fun to use.
Well, you know what? I also know some people who use those. They're not going to help with the sound, but if it's light because you're downtown, that can be very helpful. Yeah. Also, another thing that I know people do in terms of light are those lavender pillows, and that's kind of a double whammy because the smell of the lavender can be very relaxing, plus it makes it very dark. And again, that just helps your body. For some people, those kind of aromatherapy really helps.
And if you have the opportunity to live in a bedroom that is large enough, and I know here in New York City that is not the case, try moving your bed away from the window and the crazy loud radiator and all the other noisemakers that surround you.
So put your bed in a different place, if that's possible in your bedroom.
Excellent. So, Lori, I think we ought to wrap up here because we want to be sensitive to everyone's time. I do want to thank you for your expert advice here. And look at that ending slide. Is that creaky joints or what?
And Seth, the social networking piece, I think sometimes when we feel safer and connected to people, it's also easy. Part of falling asleep is kind of letting go. People can feel very vulnerable, and so being connected with the community like the Creaky Joints Board or feeling like there are other people out there who know what you're going through and are with you makes a huge difference in being able to be relaxed enough to sleep.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We would like to thank our sponsors, the good folks at Centacor, for their support of this program through an educational grant, giving us an opportunity to bring it to the masses. And just as a final note here, some latecomers joined us midway through, so we topped 200, 202 folks, countries all around the world, time zones and international date lines. It was nice to see some friends that I had met in Australia during my visit to the folks there with arthritis log in, as well as some new ones that hadn't had a chance to meet yet. And everyone else within the Creaky Joints community that joined us today, we're really, really happy that you did. We hope that tonight is a restful night for you, and we really know what it's all about to go to bed with something like arthritis and RA and not know where the night, let alone the morning, will take you. And so we hope that some of these helpful hints have given you some direction. And we look forward to bringing many more of these webinars to you because I have a feeling the Internet is here to stay. What do you think, Lori?
I think it is.
At this point, it's a safe bet. And so signing off for all of us at Creaky Joints, this is Seth Ginsberg thanking you again for joining us live on our webinar this evening or in the ether on a recording, and we look forward to seeing and speaking with you soon. So from all of us, thank you and feel good.
Yeah, good night and lots of rest.